All right, folks, let's go ahead and get going here. Hope you guys are having a great Monday night stream. Next one's going to be on Thursday. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. So I don't know, quick announcement. There's a hardback. Turn on a little extra light. Here we go. There's a hardback of Water of Awakening. So that is live. I'm actually going to upload a slightly tweaked cover file after I'm done with this. This is the first hardback off the presses, and there's a couple little tweaks I'm going to make with the alignment of some things because I haven't done this format before, and it's really weird compared to what they did before. And the margin, or the tools they use to set things are actually slightly off from where they ended up on the page or on the actual product. So I got to do a little bit of work with that. So if you enjoy that music, you can find it at zoonline.bandcamp.com. Didn't get to record nearly as much stuff over February as I wanted, but I had a lot going on, so that's kind of where it is. So yeah, any authors that are looking to do hardbacks, you'll have more options to do that through Amazon if you want. This is basically, I didn't have to do any formatting for the interior because it's the exact same format for my paperbacks, and in fact, even the gutters are pretty much fine for this. So I really didn't have to do anything else. I just had to reformat the cover, and that actually is not that hard now that I've done it. In fact, I don't know if I can do a tutorial video if it would violate terms of service for this, this program, because it's not in full. People aren't doing it full, but I might do at least an unlisted video for authors who have the option of doing these. So you can just really quickly convert, if you have your cover files, you can really quickly convert any paperback, into the same size here. Now, if you're looking, these look very different because this is the very first pre-release version of it, and I changed a bunch of stuff between the final version of what was there, including fonts and things like that. So anyway, that's some new business, and I'm working on the Volume 2 hardback too. So the Needle Ash hardback will also be live hopefully this week if you're wanting to collect those. I want to get those hardbacks out and available because Book 3 will be coming out this year, and I have a couple plans for some cool ways to do Book 3 with some crowdfunding to get some illustrations funded. People really like the illustrations in Needle Ash by Brad Lynn, and I might do another one for Book 3, and if people like stretch goals, we can go back and illustrate Book 1 as well. So that's something that I'm probably going to do a little bit later. I need to get Moonsong Book 3 out. I had this weird thing, my mother-in-law was a fan. She read all my books, and so her house was full of all my books, which is kind of weird, when you're dealing with all that. The house is full of the books. I didn't finish a lot of the series that I started, so I really need to get on that and push them out and get those finished. So if you're wanting to do hardback conversions, I'll probably have a video on that because I actually think it's pretty easy now that I know what I'm doing. You always have an adjustment period where you're like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. And so this is the adjustment period, and it actually came out really good. It's I only have to tweak 2 things, and otherwise I really didn't have to do that much to the cover files to make them work. So if you already have a paperback cover file, then it's going to be really easy to make a hardback. Really, really easy. Basically, you can do it in Photoshop just by expanding the size of the canvas, redoing your guides, and then just putting a black border around it is probably good enough to go. No one's going to see the edges. Audiobook of Muramasa Blood Drinker, please. I loved your creativity book. Yeah. The problem with audiobooks right now is that the market for audiobooks really crashed last year, which is why you can still get the audiobook I still have a couple audiobooks out, but I stopped releasing the Voices of the Void one. I need to go back and finish recording it at least so people can have the option of getting it. But I got sick in the middle of recording it and just never came back. Because at the same time, the audiobook market had completely collapsed at that point. So if you're trying to decide, what am I going to do with my time? Audiobooks for time and money are Just not a great investment right now. They will turn around, and I think they probably have been turning around. But you have to think people were doing a lot of audiobook stuff because they were in their car commuting or doing other things where they were able to listen to audiobooks. Now, I listen to audiobooks mostly as I'm doing other things. Like if I'm doing yard work or like working in the garage or some other task, I'll listen to audiobooks. That's how I listen to them. So I've still listened to the same amount of audiobooks as I always listen to, but the sales are way off for audiobooks. But the sales of physical are way, way up. So it's also, I think if you're an author, it's worth your time to have a physical edition of some kind for your books. And then I also want to share this. I'll make a separate video about it just to announce it. But Amazon is ending their media on demand service. Now, if you don't know what the media on demand service is, where's my CD? The CDs that I at least try to sell to people. So Memories Adrift. Some of these I have like a certain amount of pressed editions of these that I already made to like mail to people if they want a signed version or something. But if you're buying it off Amazon, it's a media on demand. So what they do is they make the CD, a machine makes the CD and then they mail it to you. So that I don't have to, like on Bandcamp, if you wanted to buy it on Bandcamp, I have to get your address, charge shipping, get the payment, go down to the post office, put it in an envelope, mail it, you get it later. It's a huge pain for me to try to mail CDs. So it's really, really useful to have media on demand because I have print on demand. If you want the hardback, they make the hardback and they send it to you rather than having to make 5,000 copies and hope that you sell them all. This is kind of a deal because Amazon is still pretty much the biggest retailer of CDs as well as books. So the fact that as an indie, I can't offer a physical CD for people in high quality 16-bit. Like I don't master this stuff for MP3s. I master it for like 32-bit FLAC files. And so the 16-bit is still like a step down from how I did it, but it's way higher quality than your MP3s usually. And that's very true in the high frequencies, believe it or not. Your MP3s, the lower the bit rate, the more you lose the detail in the high. So your CD has the full thing. But if you just want a physical copy with all the little art that I did for the CD, you probably can't see it that good because it's so dark in here. This is a game stream. But here, I'll turn on a bright light. All the art that I did, if you want all of that in a CD, you're not going to really be able to get it anymore. Or I'm going to have to come up with some other method for distributing that is not, there it is. That's not such a giant pain in the butt for me. I have 2 small children. For me to go to the post office is like, I don't want to go to the post office. I have to control 2 small children while I wait in line for 30 minutes to mail something. I don't want to do it. And now I could probably ship it directly from my house, but then I have to do a bunch of either postage stamps or like get the mail machine and all that kind of stuff. It's a big pain for me to try to mail stuff. And if it's a book or something large, I actually can't mail it from my house anyway because I live out in the country, and instead of like big mailboxes like some people have, we have like one mailbox that the mail guy goes to for like our whole little development. And it's got a bunch of the outgoing mailbox is small. You can't put a book in it. I can only put letters into it. So I still have to go down to the post office in town to do it. Kind of sucks. So, I mean, maybe eventually that'll happen. Maybe not. I've had a couple people, a lot of people solicit me to record audiobooks, and I generally don't do it because it's not a money-making enterprise. It's either I lose money on it or the recorder waste their time on it because there's not a lot of money in it until your book sales are at a really high level. That's just the truth. It's kind of an ego thing. I like to have those available, which means I can record them myself. And because I have a public speaking and acting background, that's not a big deal for me. It just takes my time, and that's time that I'd rather spend somewhere else if I'm not going to sell that many audiobooks anyway. So that's the rundown on audiobooks and all that kind of stuff. So let's play a game a little bit. So yeah, Amazon Media on Demand, that is going away. So if you want to get a physical version of Memories Adrift off of Amazon, now's the time to get it because it's going to be gone in June. So June is when everything is ending. And it's really weird the way they worded it. I kind of want to pull up the, let me pull up the email and read it because it's really weird how they worded this particular thing. They worded it in a way that is just kind of weaselly. It's kind of weaselly. Let me find it here. I have a feeling it was like in the wrong place in my email. Nope. Yeah, let me find it. I had a picture up on yeah, I'm not sure where it is. I have lost the email. I have a copy on Twitter, so I'll just look it up on Twitter and give you the exact thing. Okay. We are writing to inform you that we have made the decision to close media on demand based on customer and content owner feedback, specifically their preference for digital streaming services versus physical discs. We wanted to provide you with as much notice as possible to help you prepare for this change. While we will stop accepting new titles on March 31st, 2021, you will still be able to sell your existing titles through June 4th, 2021. These dates may be subject to change, so make sure to check the closure schedule for more details and updates on our closure status. So they didn't say it was underutilized. They said they somehow got feedback. Yeah, you ask a customer, hey, do you like to buy physical discs or subscription service? And they're like, well, subscription service. They're like, okay, we won't sell physical discs anymore. It's like, the people who want the physical discs are buying the physical discs. I can get it if you can say, we made a business decision, it was underutilized, so we're not going to offer it anymore because it's, people just aren't using it. It's like, no, they did some kind of survey and then shut down something that was probably profitable for them because of a survey. Someone's thinking kind of long term. If everything is a subscription service, if nobody buys or sells CDs anymore, then it's really easy. If you kick someone off the service, then they just disappear. That's kind of the crappy thing. And it becomes much harder for me to distribute things as an indie. So it's a weird way that they worded it, like customer and content owner feedback. You decided to shut down a business area because of a survey. The CD market hasn't shrunk enough to make this a business decision. Amazon just wants more control. I think it has to be that. They just want the ability to turn things off and on at a whim. Now, you can still get the MP3s on Amazon. You can still get them. You get the FLAC files from Bandcamp if you want, zillonline.bandcamp.com, and then burn your own CD. But it's not the same as having the package. And that's kind of why I like vinyls. It's one of the things that's cool about vinyls is even if you are not set up to have vinyls sound really, really, really good, the fact that you have the big artwork that you look at, the fact that you have to put it on a record player and sit down and meaningfully listen, you can't just pop it in the car. It makes the experience better. It's part of the total experience. Kind of like buying like a big paperback book and seeing the art in your hands and being able to feel the pages. That's a different experience than the digital experience. And there's nothing wrong with if ebooks are what you like to do or like digital music's what you like to do and that works for your lifestyle. I listen to streaming music as well because that also fits into my lifestyle. It's easier to, if I'm at the gym, just pop up an album, then I'm like, okay, let's try out a new album today. Just pop it up and like listen to it on the streaming service rather than trying to load MP3s onto an iPod and bring that. And then, I really wish I would have loaded that thing on there. I still have a 160 gig iPod that works, but I don't end up using it in a bunch of specific places like the gym. You end up with the streaming services instead. So yeah, the CDs sound a lot better than streaming. There's a bunch of reasons for that. So there's Amazon sells an HD streaming service, and from what I hear is like the CDs still sound better because the way that they will stream it is bitrate has to be variable because of the fact that internet speeds are going up and down all the time. So you end up with some bitrate variations and things like that versus playing it off the CD. It's a constant bitrate, which is weird. So one of the things you'll notice is that really complex or like very, audio files that have a lot of information on them can vary in size, even though they're the same length of time. But that's not the case with AIFF, which is the audio format on a CD. It's always the same, which means you're going to get more detail out of a CD in music that has, for example, classical music. Classical music on a CD just ends up sounding better than even a high quality MP3. I've tested this out myself like years ago. We had like the 392 kilobyte MP3s versus CD, and it was at really loud reference volume. The CDs just sounded a lot better. And we were trying to figure out why that was, but it was something about like there's a, that constant bit rate just produces a little bit more detail in softer music. So we decided CDs ended up sounding pretty much better no matter what. Now you have FLAC files, which are a lot better too. But you can still get those at zoneonline.bandcamp.com. In fact, I'll link it right now. So, if you want to get high quality FLAC files, I have those. I think they're all 32-bit, either 44 or 4800, probably 4800 as far as the samples per second. And that's pretty much as high quality as you're going to be able to tell any difference for. The 32-bit resolution, I think, really helps because a lot of my music can be kind of dense. So the higher resolution seems to cut down on any kinds of, loss of detail with bitrate and things like that. So anyway, check it out, and let's go ahead and play some games. So anyway, I want to point that out to people because it's something that's small and a lot of people are not going to notice it that much. But if you're an independent movie maker or an independent an independent businessman of some kind, as far as like trying to make CDs or DVDs, that's a loss. That's something that would be really nice to have if you had the option to be able to have that. And maybe another company will step up and do it. But a lot of these companies they're so focused on the digital now, the physical side is really an afterthought. And or they do physical really bad. So like CD Baby or something, they're awful with their physical distribution. It's pretty bad. They do something that is really bizarre where they will press the CDs, but they will not mail them or offer physical distribution. You have to have them mail you their CDs, and then you mail the CDs back to them. I know, and that's literally what you have to do. It's as dumb as it sounds. You mail them, they mail you the CDs that they press, and then you mail them back to an address that's like across the street. It's like, you can't just handle all this at the same time, guys. Oh, black levels are bad in movies. I've heard that too. I wonder what that is. Yeah. But I remember we figured it out with Star Wars. Like the Star Wars Blu-rays were huge. They're like 50 gigs or something, 60 gigs. And the streaming files, like the digital files, I had a friend that bought the digital files, and they were like 1.6 gigs each, somehow running in HD. It's like you're not getting the details with like a 1.6 or a 3 gig file versus 60 gigs. That's kind of the new thing, is like black levels. Back in college, I had a project. I still have my projector in the closet. I watched movies on a projector, so like a giant screen. And that's the way I like to do it. All right, so just so you know where we're at in this story, we're at the dwarves, and here they are, lally ho. We went in and we saved the horn. And so now we have to go to the volcano to get the horn back. The ice horns. But I did the dungeon and got like completely owned in it on the last boss. So I think I need to level up my guys a bit more before we do that. I heard Peter Jackson went and did a bunch of changes to the like Ultra HD, the 4K versions of Lord of the Rings that people were upset about. I'm like, I still have my Lord of the Rings Blu-rays. And I think those movies still hold up pretty well. They're not perfect adaptations, but they're probably as good as we're going to get from Hollywood. Hollywood is not very keen on adapting Tolkien. I think I don't like this filter for how it looks streaming. I'm going to change it. Sea monster. Boom, boom. .1080p Blu-ray probably looks better than 4K streams. Yeah, I think so. So this is one of the things about same thing with like game streaming. You can stream in 4K. It's like, how much information are you losing with that compression though, versus like playing it on your own machine? I feel like game streaming just, I don't think that should ever really be a thing. Eventually it's always going to be cheaper and better to have the hardware locally. Let's turn on the NES sound. Turn on the 8-bit music for fun. Not as bad as Lucas refusing to send the original unedited film to the Library of Congress. I still find that funny. I think the 8-bit music has a lot of charm. You can also change the filter here. I turned on the advanced anti-aliasing filter. It's kind of interesting look on the big. It looks really good on the Vita, but it maybe doesn't look as good on the stream. I'm gonna level my guys a bit as we talk here. Yeah, George Lucas, you know, the special editions he keeps talking about, I think he really felt like it just wasn't good enough. Like his original film just didn't look good enough. It just didn't do what he wanted it to do. It didn't meet his vision enough. Which is weird because it looks so good, but I could see that where like your imagination, it just doesn't meet what your imagination has in your mind. It's just, you see the seams because you made it. You know, you see like the stormtrooper wearing the sneakers and stuff. Congress got the special editions. You would think he would have sent it to the Library of Congress back in the 70s, but I guess not. Bum, 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 bum. Some job level increases. I got owned so hard on this last dragon, I need to get some higher levels here. Here, let's actually try this. So if you hold down, if you have a Vita and you have Adrenaline installed, you can go to settings here and you can actually change the filtering. So this is the LCD mode, and this is like pretty pixel perfect. So we could do this one. There's a sharp bilinear, which looks pretty good. There's just the original graphics, like bilinear. Sharp bilinear has these cool scan lines, like you're looking at it on a CRT, which I like for some of the other ones. Advanced AA, everything has this kind of, on this one has this kind of washed, kind of like, I don't know how to put it, like a watercolor look almost. And this one is just really precise. You can like see the pixels. So let's run that one for a while. Run like the precise pixels. I don't know what this is. Some kind of peninsula. Let's see what kind of enemies are here. What's interesting is George Lucas actually lets
Theater showed the unaltered version of Star Wars, yet doesn't want people to own them on Blu-ray. Finds those versions inferior. Yeah, I think he really believes that. I think he really does believe that. So this is like the pixel version. It's like very pixelated now. I don't think it looks quite as good with these 3D graphics. Here's the other thing I'll say about the special editions is the truth is if you put to the side most of the CG editions, they're better in almost every single way. Like, tons of stuff are cleaned up from the originals. And he's done several different cleanups. Like, he did a cleanup back in the 1990s or early 90s, I think, that really improved the picture quality a lot. And got rid of a lot of these, like in Empire Strikes Back and a lot of these, especially, you notice it in Empire Strikes Back because of the white snow, that when they were superimposing the cockpits, the cockpit is slightly transparent, so you can see the details of the snow through the cockpit, which doesn't look good. So they fixed stuff like that as they went. So if you're looking at the original version of, say, Empire Strikes Back, you'll notice those transparencies. But he, like, improved the sound, the balance, the voices are clearer, there's all kinds of stuff. I'm going to show you guys something funny here. It smells like chocobo. So if you use Gishel greens or a carrot, if you're playing the NES version, the Japanese NES version, it will bring out this guy. Where is it? Gishel greens. Here we go. Fat Chocobo. Fat Chocobo will store your gear. Now, this was important in the NES version because in the NES version, you had this super limited inventory, and in this version, you don't. So, like, I can store a couple knives, you know, and then later I can, like, retrieve the knives if I want. You know, whatever I want to do. But there's really no reason to use him in this version of the game because you just have your inventory is not limited. It's just to, like, save time scrolling through items if you don't want to scroll through those items. I've seen the 4K 77 project. That's the closest I'll see of the original versions. I had them on VHS. I still have them on VHS. I don't remember what this is here. Oh. Golgan Gulch. Oh, yeah, we came here before. Ooh, a new one from... The children are in trouble. The children have not come back from their recent exploration trip. We have searched as far from Ur as we dared, but could not find them. Grave news. Interesting. Maybe we have to go back and help the children. In Ur. You were in Golgan Gulch. Oh, yes. So this one, I came here, and I don't need to come here anymore. Yeah, I think I don't love this filter, so let's change the filter. Sharp bilinear. I think I like that sharp bilinear. Or the advanced AA. I don't know. Let's do bilinear. Try bilinear for a while. Seems like Bravely Default went for more of a watercolor design for the background, which was kind of cool. I like Bravely Default a lot. I think I love the aesthetics of it. I do want to play number 2, but I don't have time right now, so... so I'm probably not going to for a little while. I guess I could play it on stream. That would give me like an excuse to play it. Although I hate the English voiceover, so I'd probably play it in Japanese. I did the same thing for... Octopath Traveler. The English voiceovers really annoyed me, so I just played the game in Japanese. But I actually like the voiceovers for the original Bravely Default in English. I don't mind them. They're a little melodramatic. They sound like anime dubs. but I don't know. They're okay. I like them. It's so funny when you apply logic to the fat chocobo being on the lunar whale in Final Fantasy IV. Japanese players may have gotten the reference, but it makes no sense in the context of the universe. Yeah, it's a reference. That's really what it is. A lot of times at this point, you start to get just references to previous versions of games, and that goes on. It's like there's always chocobos and stuff. Now, I happen to think flaws are part of charm, but I also think, you know, at a certain point, it's good to say that you're done with something and leave the flaws intact. Because if you try to polish something too much, you can remove what makes it special. And this is a tip for anyone that's editing, editing their work. And a good editor will, I think, know this. A good book editor. If you try to edit, you try to polish too much, you try to take everything, all the rough edges off of everything, you can end up removing what makes the work special. So that's why I say generally if you're doing more than like, say, 2 revisions, maybe 3 if you really need to do a lot of revision, and especially if you're putting things back in the book that you cut out before, you know that you're basically on a fool's errand as far as like editing goes, that you're never really going to finish editing it. And you just have to figure out what's like the core mood and charm of what you're trying to do and go with that. And just let it live. Let the project live. Subs being better is really objective, not subjective. I would agree with that because there's just more money in the Japanese scene to attract talent. Most English dubs are rarely above amateur level. IMO. Okay, so yeah, there's two things there. Like the Japanese acting, I always feel like is better, and I don't even understand that much Japanese, and I feel that way. It's just you get more out of the more of that extra. I don't know what to call it. There's an extra level of communication from the way that you say things, and you get so much more of that with the Japanese delivery. The English delivery always, I don't know, yeah, it always feels second rate. And I think a lot of people pick up on that. But you also have this other layer where you have companies like Funimation that will re-script the episode. And so it's no longer a translation, it becomes a re-scripting. Almost like a remake. Not like Robotech level, obviously, but, you know, where they are putting things in that were not there at all. Maybe even the opposite of there. Maybe they put in political statements about, like, the patriarchy or something that, you know, for somebody who's watching a program from another culture, this makes no sense and is completely out of place. You know, Japan doesn't have these social issues that we care about in the same way. It's really dumb to try to put that on them. Or pretend that you are scripting an American show and that you can do whatever you want. But that's what they do. They call themselves writers when they re-script things badly. A lot of times wordings are awkward, you know. I went over this when I talked about Chinibyo and other... Love Chinibyo and Other Delusions. I watched one episode of it that was dubbed. And it was like... The characters were night and day different. They were not the same characters, especially Riku. Or Rika Takanashi. She is like... She has this like bravado that goes along with her Chinibyo that it just isn't present in the English dub. It's like very flat affect. And just not her. It's not her personality at all. And it doesn't have the subtle different ways that it's expressed. Like when she gets caught, gets caught in a lie, she has this very awkward way of stammering over her words. And it's very obvious what the actor's doing in that. There's this big tonal shift, but it just isn't there in the dub. It's just missing. So you get stuff like that. Like really, it's just you just can't watch it if you want the real experience. All right, let me see what my job levels are here. Job level 32, 44, 29. Wow, the monk is like really super high job level. Probably because he's doing more actions with the retaliate, which is fine. And we really... Well, we'll try it out. We'll see if we can beat this final boss here. Getting over perfectionism is the best thing new writers can do to boost their output. I agree. I did a whole chapter on that in the Keys to Prolific Creativity book. Avoid perfectionism. It doesn't mean avoid quality. You just have to know that you can't make things perfect. Not only that, but the more you try to make something perfect, the more you are putting off learning the lessons that will make the next project closer to perfect. So the fact that you never put out your book and never really get the feedback experience that you need to properly grow just means that basically you're never going to get the perfect product that you want because you aren't writing enough words. You have to just do the reps. You have to put out a lot of stuff to get better. This is the same in music as it is in writing. The more you do it, the better you're going to get. That's just how it works. I think it's the only negative one for a reason. You know, there's chocobo woods here too, where you could get on a chocobo right here, but I don't know what he would do. I can get on the chocobo and go like 2 feet here. See? Yeah, there's just like no reason. Save the game again. So yeah, if you can increase your output, you're going to get better than you would by trying to polish the same amateur work that you did. So a lot of people, they write their first book. What they need to do is take that first book and put it in a drawer, or just, you know, put the file away and write another book and gain the experience from writing another book, writing more stories, write some short stories, just work on your craft. After you develop a little bit, go back and look at that first book and you'll realize that you just didn't have the skills to revise it to begin with. And that you really needed to do it. And then you will have the skills to be able to know what you need to fix about it. The Moonsong books are actually very early books of mine that I did this for. And I think Brian... I think the Soul Cycle it was the Soul Cycle books of his were earlier books that he wrote that he went back and redid because, you know, he learned how to be a better writer. And that's what you can do. Yeah, you don't get on the bench press for the first time with 300 on the bar. You won't be able to lift or get any stronger. Unless you're like Hafthor Bjornsson or some extreme freak. But yeah. You have to start with what you can manage and get better from there. And actually, I mean, like if you're going to use a weightlifting, let's use a weightlifting example. Rather than bench press, imagine you're doing like a clean and press, which is it's where you pull it off the ground and then you press it over your head. So there's several movements involved. So it's like I'm going to just do this, and why can't I do 200 pounds of it right now? Well, there's a whole lot of muscle groups in there, and if you took the time and developed yourself as a weightlifter, you'd realize that you need to spend time doing all those things separately and figuring out where your weak points are, and then you go back and do it, and you're able to add a bunch of weight on the bar because you went and did deadlifts, and you went and did shoulder press, you went and did these other things that allowed you to do what you needed to do. Now this guy is weak to... I think he's weak to thunder. But I think I'm just gonna heal up the party here. The English dubs that push leftist and globalist agendas is annoying. And yeah, English dubs that change the dialogue to fit the US feminist agenda is unwatchable. Yeah, I don't like that. And then, you know... you get dubs that... I wrote Soul Dancer first and set it aside until after I wrote Ethereal. There you go. That's Brian's experience. So I wrote Moonsong first. I wrote what the equivalent of now will be 6 books of it. Set it aside, wrote Muramasa based on the lessons I got towards the end of that, and then came back to it. Because now I have a better idea of like how to actually make it good. Like what makes a good story. And you're not going to learn those lessons just... You'll learn some lessons by listening to people who know what they're talking about. You'll learn lessons by working with editors. They're not going to be quite as good as you'll learn just from doing the reps. Just from sitting at the word processor and cranking it out. And it's okay to be bad at something the first time you try. I think something that's kind of started with my generation was this obsession with good self-esteem. Like you always have to think good things about yourself. And I think what happens is that people confuse being confident in performing a task with self-esteem. So if you get negative feedback on something, you think, I'm a bad person. I'm a bad writer because I didn't do this perfectly. Well, there's room to grow. You have to kind of be okay knowing that you're going to be confident, know what tasks you're confident with. And the fact that, I'm not good at every task doesn't make me a bad person or make me even a bad writer, that I'm not bad at every single thing that encompasses writing. You know what I mean? Like there's certain typos that I always miss. Like my brain just autocorrects them. It's really helpful to have other people look at that and be like, you're always doing this. You're using this word a lot. Like, I think in some of my early books, I used the word leapt a lot. I think because I was reading, I grew up reading a lot of 80s fantasy books, and they used that a lot. So it just kind of got into the writing. But yeah, if you use it too much, then it's just, man, he uses this word a lot. You don't really think about it as you're writing. You have to have someone else kind of point it out to you. But you stop and go, man, I use leapt a lot. I'm bad. It's like, no, it's just a word. It's like Robert Jordan, Nynaeve tugging her braid. If I have to read about Nynaeve tugging her braid, incredulously for the upteenth time. Let's try some magic. Let's see what fire magic does to these guys. And to drive David's point home, Soul Dancer is the one that won the Dragon Award. There you go. And an experienced writer will be able to look at what is done by an inexperienced writer and know what's special about it. I don't give a lot of feedback to people now, but when I do, I usually start with like, here's what is good. Like, here's what's special about your writing. And here's the thing that's missing. So you can work on, keep the thing that's good and work on adding the thing that's missing. And that's something that will make your writing immediately better. There we go. Retaliate, guard, magic, cure. So folds arms beneath breasts. Smooth screen. It's always beneath the breasts. Somehow, I don't know why that was. I don't know why he did that, but it's something he did a lot. And it didn't really get caught in editing. It's one of the reasons that I think Robert Jordan's books get worse as they go on. His wife was his editor. But I think there was just less care put into the editing process as they went on because they just didn't need to. Like the book was going to come out no matter what. The publisher was going to put it out no matter what. There was just less reason to even bother. I think I like the rearranged music for this one. All right, where am I going? Nope, I came from there. Right? Okay. Chest. The chest contained freezing blade. Ooh, sweet. Mel can... Whoa, Viking axe is good. I think we want the freezing blade, though. Why don't we try... Let's try, like, dual wielding. For a bit. I have to keep doing Control F for was when I write and get rid of them when it appears more than a couple times in a paragraph that I write. Yeah, I don't know what to call that, but yeah, sometimes you use the same word too often. Uh-oh. Man, we're like almost dead here. Go to this guy. Actually, let's do Blizzard. Zara. Cure. I watched Behind Your Ears, Rand Nynaeve. That was 10 years ago. There we go. Forms of B are really weak. Yeah, sometimes and this is one that you can catch with a lot of pros. It was as if, or he began to. Well, it was as if he were attacking her. Was he attacking her or not? You want to use as if it's something that's not even related to what you're talking about there. Or he began to run down the corridor. How about he just ran down the corridor? You know, he's only beginning to run if it's like he began to run down the corridor, but stopped a few feet in. It'd still be better. He started down the corridor and stopped, or you know, he stopped. He dashed into the corridor and stopped a few feet in. Would sound a little bit better than like he began to run. Like you shouldn't begin to do actions. You should simply do the actions. Phoenix down. Let's see if there's any secrets here. I've already done this level before and got owned by the last boss, so... Let's see. Alright. Let's hope we don't get too owned here. Now, in the original, I don't think you get attacked on the lava. So this is kind of an interesting thing here. We're getting attacked on the lava. This turtle's hit kind of hard. Man, he hits hard with those two weapons. Reading Wheel of Time now. I hate some of the female characters, especially Fail. How she got married, I do not understand. The characters just spontaneously fall in love. I kind of like Fail. I don't know. Maybe I'm like the weirdo that liked Fail. But you notice, like, nobody who's attracted to somebody else has a good relationship with them. This is something that, I don't know, I'm kind of conflicted about. You know, my married characters generally have functional marriages. I guess because I have a functional marriage. And maybe Robert Jordan's marriage, like, wasn't really functional or something. I don't know. But you notice every character... If two characters like each other, they actually hate each other. They act like they hate each other in Wheel of Time. So, you know, Fail and, who is it? Is it Para? Who Who does she marry? Is it Perrin? Jordan admitted he wrote the male characters as women and the female characters as men. Interesting. Yeah, but they're in constant conflict with each other. So like they like don't like each other at all. Which is weird. So like yeah, Matt and who does Matt end up with? I don't remember him ending up with anyone actually. But definitely Perrin and Fael, Nynaeve and what's his name now? It's been too long. The Ranger character. He has no reason to like her. It's just bizarre. Impact clause. It's actually your monk is always worse if you put stuff on him. Perrin Ibarra. And then Rand has 3 girls, all who love-hate him. You know? You've got... Every woman is a Sundari. Every woman's a shrew in Wheel of Time, is what it's like. And there's just different variations of the shrew. Like, Nynaeve is the ultimate shrew. You have, what's-her-face from the desert, who's mega shrew. You have the queen, who's kind of a shrew. The princess, who's halfway a shrew. She's the demure shrew. And, who's the other one? The third girl. Now I only write my characters as super straight. I write my characters in a normal world, so it's statistically implausible that they would ever meet a person who was trans. Even if they were socially acceptable. Whoa! I mean, if you were leader of the world, wouldn't you be a polygamist too? I mean, do we really want to hate Genghis Khan because he banged the world? I mean, I guess we can. Min, that's right, Min. All right, here's the boss. We'll see if we get a game over this time. Min is the only non-shrew. And then you have the Tarvalin witches, who are all of them shrews. It's not enough. I must defeat you, those who've blessed with the light, to gain the true power of the crystal of fire. Now die! We already beat this guy once. I like that he's like super evil chibi. I love the graphics. Gutsgo attacks you. And we'll see his actual, like, he turns into a dragon. Let's try LAAAAATE. And I think I have a Libra. Let's do Libra on him. Salamander is what he turned into. Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, I've heard that, like, 1 in 12 people is like a descendant of Genghis Khan now. Or something like that. Because he was so prolific. Salamander. Okay. HP, thanks, Libra. Weakness, ice. Weakness, water. Okay. I really didn't need to do that, did I? And we'll just hit Lazara till we're out of those. I wonder if I could like teleport out of this fight. We'll try silencing him. We'll see if that works. We're all probably distantly related to Mongolian cousins, yeah. Whoa! Guy hits hard. We're doing like a 1,000 HP per round towards him. Okay, so he's immune to silence. I don't have any level 4 spells. Let's see if we can blind him. See if we can pump everybody up. I think he's basically going to attack twice before I can do anything, which is going to suck. Yeah, I killed my guy. I'm probably going to get a game over here. He's probably not going to recover from that. Do Phoenix down on our white mage. Let's do probably see if we can just use a high potion real quick before we die. But this guy's speed is really high, so it's kind of hard to get that. A lot of conspiracy theorists think that they're clever by pointing out some big wig is related to Charlemagne, when even my 10th grade history teacher can trace his ancestry to him. Yeah, so did Christopher Lee, is a descendant of Charlemagne. Oh my gosh, we healed her to full and she still died. It's ridiculous. Yeah, there's no way we're gonna beat this fight. It's a waste of time. We're gonna have to like go and grind. That is annoying. Oh, we'll try it out. We'll see if we can bring people back. Oh, he's almost dead. There we go. It's bad game design when the bosses are immune to status effects. One reason why Megami Tensei is so great. Oh, Shin Megami Tensei, yeah. If you guys don't know what those are, they're... Persona started off as a spin-off of those. Let's attack. Retaliate. No, let's actually attack. Let's hit him. Guard and magic. We'll see if we can heal her. The new movie Boss Level is good. It's not based on previous property, isn't woke, and is a lot of fun. Sort of Groundhog Day meets Tarantino. Even has Mel Gibson in it. Interesting. He was a brilliant tactician and he had basically perfected the art of war. He was by no means a simple man, old Khan. Lazara. Let's hope nobody dies here. Oh, we beat him! I thought for sure we weren't going to make it. This guy hits hard. Dan Carlin has a great podcast series on Khan. Lydia's job level increased. Vox's job level increased. Woo! Yeah, we beat you, dude. You defeated Gutsko. You obtained the Horns of Ice. That must be the fire crystal. Warriors of the light. I will bless you with the light contained within my eternal flames. Bringers of equilibrium, you must restore the light of hope lost from this world. It's actually a good thing about Final Fantasy 13 is all the bosses can be afflicted with different status effects, and you need to in order to beat the boss. Like, you have to be able to use a saboteur to just, like, nerf them somehow so you can get through the fight with a lot of them. And why design a game so that players design a character who mainly attacks through status effects be completely inviable against bosses? Alright, what was I supposed to do? How do I get the light from the eternal flames? Or did it already bless me? Alright, I guess it already blessed me. I guess there's nothing else to do here. Did it, like, refill my health, or no? It did! Sweet. Man, at this point, I just want a Vagrant Story remaster. That would be cool. I wonder if there's any more, like, mobs in here. If there's any, like, secrets. I don't see any secrets. Alright, here we go. Bam, we defeated the dungeon. What time is it? Probably time to go to bed. Oh yeah. It's a great stream. Got through a dungeon. Got to talk about publishing and writing. Let's go get the ice horns back. Nally ho, warriors of the light, you've come back. Lally ho, thank you, warriors of the light. Or we should make them like stereotypical dwarves and have like some sort of Scottish country accent. Like this guy. The fire crystal is safe, but we have to learn to protect the horns better. Security first, lolly ho! Both horns are back. Rally ho! Lolly ho! Have you ever read anything by Ron Fortier? I don't think I have. Someone asked me about like a James Clavell story. I was like, and it's like, oh, it's a short story. I'm like, man, I've only read epic books by James Clavell, I think. I've only read like giant tomes. Thank you again. Here, take this. It's yours. You'll find more in the village of Giselle. Obtained magic key. Magic keys can open anything, but they'll break once you use them. I already went to that village and bought some stuff, I guess. Can I steal these ice horns? I guess not. Now the real question is, can I get the treasure? There are many beautiful women in the village of Giselle, and what's more, you'll even find a key maker there. Yarg. Warriors of the Light, did you ever know that out to sea, far, far to the east, is a peninsula with a village called Giselle? Yeah, I already went there. It's not really a Scottish accent. It's more like, you know, this is how I see them do dwarves. Is like some mixture between like, I don't know, like lowland Scottish, but like a country English accent at the same time. Thank you for the class description. Turfing. We got all this stuff. Now this is for like a bard. So I don't know if I don't want to spend that much money on like a bard weapon. Bards are really bad, I think, in this game. So great Scottish accent dubbing. Now we just need dwarven pirates. Dwarven pirates. Lally ho! Both horns are back up. Dip hop, lally ho! What you be doing? I already got all this. Alright. Do you know how Larry Correa got the nickname The Mountain Who Writes? People like John C. Wright call him that all the time. No. I've never heard that before. I don't really pay a lot of attention to Larry, though. If you do watch Attack on Titan, the Japanese voice actors have been killing it, especially some of the new ones for the K. Also, be forewarned, it has lots of big reveals. Avoid. Yeah, I didn't do the... I watched Attack on Titan years ago. Like, probably 10 years ago at this point. When it was like one season, and it was an English dub, and it was a really bad dub. And it was really awkward, and I thought it was cringe as hell, and I didn't watch more than a few episodes of it. Warriors of the Light, Tokkul needs you. What's going on? Are you all right? Our village, we didn't have anything more for them to take. They're going to burn down Tokkul. Please, you must stop them. What have they done? Hein has a way to change his weak point. Only a scholar has the power to see through his deception. Probably have to get some other scholar job. I don't know. At what point did dwarves become Scottish? I don't know. Somewhere in the like fantasy mythos of the 80s and 90s, they took on this accent that was like this. Face it, laddie, we're going with you. Like it became this weird amalgam of like Scottish and country English is the best way I would describe it. It's a dwarven accent. It's like, oh, he has a dwarven accent. It's like, I don't know, like, what is that? I don't know. He sounds like he's from Scotland, but not. Are you interested in reading any of Larry Correa's books? I haven't read any. I don't know. They're not. I don't think they're probably not for me. I don't find most of them particularly like I want to read them. I might read one. I don't know. But he's also like a dick to my friends, so I don't really care to bother with him at this point. Married couples in novels can have functional and loving relationships. I think so. They still have interesting banner and storylines. You know, this story is about a married woman trying to save her husband. She's not like out on a quest to find love. You know, she's trying to save her husband. They have a marriage. And then there's a married couple in here, and you get a couple of married elves, actually. You get more of them in the book I'm going to release this year. They like each other. They've been together for thousands of years, and somehow they are still like each other. It's almost like they're adults. It's because the old English writer saw the Scots and English country folks as dwarves, obviously. These fish cast fire. These are fire fish. To his credit, Larry gave my career a big boost early on. Good for him. I mean, I just haven't really wanted to read any of his books. It's not really for me. I have nothing specific against him. How else are they supposed to sound? Alright, let's go ahead and save this. And we will call it there for a day since we beat a dungeon. Alright. I like this music. Okay. Thanks for joining me this week, friends. I do appreciate the chat, as always. It's very interesting. It's a good stream. We got to talk about a lot of stuff, like publishing stuff. If you are an author and you're interested in how to do, this is what's called laminate. This is called a laminate hardback. So it's like a textbook rather than a desk jacket. Right. So if you're interested in figuring out how to do that, then I'll probably have a video up this week on how to do it, and I'll go like step by step how to do it. Since I just did it for Needle Ash, I'll probably do it for Muramasa. I'll probably put out a hardbook for Muramasa this week too. So if you are a collector and you want like a hardback, you could get that. The thing about it is that it's more expensive. So if you're looking for physical the cheap entry point is going to be the paperback version, not the hardback version. But I'll have a little video on how to do that so people can really quickly adapt their paperbacks if they want and get in on that, on the hardback business. And anyway, yeah, I appreciate it. So I'm going to be trying to put out Moonsong Book 3 as quickly as possible here. And I'll be doing some more music in the margins. I did work up a little Baroque set that I played at my mother-in-law's funeral on Saturday. So what publishing service do you use? I'll go over that. It's actually through Amazon. It's actually a KDP. It's a confidential beta. I'm not really supposed to say that I'm in it, but I'll show you how to do it. They don't have templates or anything like that worked up yet, so you have to use a calculator. But if you use a calculator, it's actually really easy to set up the guidelines to get everything arranged properly. So anyway, it's through that, and so you can do it through your Amazon KDP page, and I think the quality is pretty good, actually. I think that I'm pretty pleased with it. They might be going through Ingram Spark or someone like this as well. They often do that for a lot of their printing. See, it's pretty sharp. I don't know if you can see on the camera. You know, it's very sharp. It's a very sharp artwork. It's probably a little too bright. Let me turn on. There you go. Now you can really see just quite how sharp it is. So it looks really good. The artwork looks really good on it. This looks like something that it would be great to put on my shelf and really have for a long time. But it doesn't have the dust jacket. The reason that you actually have dust jackets is not because they're cool. They're actually, they get ripped, they get torn. They're actually a cheap way to add artwork to a book from days of yore. So you would print a hardback book and it would be pretty generic on the cover, and then you'd put the dust jacket on it to add the artwork. And the dust jacket would always get torn up over the years. It's kind of weird. Like I could pull out my old Dune. I have my old Dune hardbacks, and from back when they were first published. So I have a bunch of the original editions of the Dune books, and the dust jackets do not survive well. But the reason you had a dust jacket is because it was a really easy way for the publisher and the bookstore to work to destroy the books and write them off at a loss. So what you would do is if you don't sell the book, if you're a bookstore, you order a bunch of books, you order a box of books. If they don't sell after a certain amount of time, you take the dust jacket off and throw it away and send the book back to the publisher without a cover. The publisher destroys the book. They turn it into toilet paper. They burn it. And then they write it off at a loss. So when I was talking about Dr. Seuss on my video the other day about that, they have Amazon, if they were selling them up until Dr. Seuss's birthday, they have boxes of the hardback Dr. Seuss books sitting in warehouses. And what they're going to do is take the jackets off of those and send them back to the publisher, who will then literally destroy the books. So not only can you not buy them, but the ones that are already been printed are going to be literally destroyed. And that's one of the ways that the publishing companies keep their books in balance, is that they have their printer print 5,000 copies, let's say. They sell 2,000 copies. They destroy 3,000 of them and write it off at a loss, and then call it even. They haven't made any money on it. They have, but it keeps their books balanced. So this is one of the things about like new authors. If you don't break even, if you don't recoup on your advance, then they can write that off as a loss, and it kind of helps their books. But you're not going to get any more books printed from them. So most of their books just end up kind of failing, but they can write them off at a loss. And we independent artists, we don't have the option to write off like a bunch of books as a loss. You can put Mylar covers over your dust jackets like libraries do. Yeah, I find the best bindings are like library bindings, which are really robust, but those are kind of hard to do them yourself. There's people around who will do them for you though. So yeah, anyway, there's that, and thanks so much, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great one.